Hello everybody and welcome to Virgo Rising in Depth plus Mercury, ruling planet in all houses. The rising sign, everybody, is much more than just your personality. In this video, I will give you the in-depth understanding of how Virgo rising is going to dominate your life in every department, in your home life, in your health, in your wealth, in your relationships, and in your career, every area. Plus, if you know where your ruling planet Mercury is by house, please check out for an in-depth understanding of why the ruling planet is so important. It's all on this video. If you are new to my channel, sub below and let's get started. So Virgo is a mutable or changeable sign and an earth sign. Earth is that dark, heavy energy that brings everything material into manifestation. Whereas from Gemini, Mercury is a very intellectual and dry aspect. Mercury in Virgo, as a ruler of Virgo, is very practical, very down to earth, very focused, and therefore exalted. This is the absolute pinnacle of Mercury in our material world, where that ability to focus, to really analyze things, to be critical, to be a perfectionist, to get to the core of why things work, how things work, and make things work, and therefore be of service and heal, and to be totally methodical and together, if you like, in dealing with the earth energy. This is Mercury's highest manifestation in this material realm. Therefore, Virgo has all of these qualities. They are very good communicators, obviously, because Mercury is about that, but in a practical and focused way. They are here to take this material energy and make it work. That's what Virgo is all about. So what is it like to have Virgo rising then with this Mercury feminine energy working for you? First of all, it's going to make you very critical because everything is in a state of imperfection and your aim is to perfect it. We live in a material world, a material universe where every atom is changing every minute. Everything is in not chaos, but it's in a changeable state. I'm not going to go into metaphysics here, but the point is that you cannot stabilize anything here. So in a material world where everything is not stable, Virgo wants to make it stable in terms of perfecting it. Okay, so Virgo likes to get jobs done, likes to focus on the task at hand. They love to work. They love to get down to the practical nitty-gritty of any job. They like to work things out. Virgos like to take things apart and put them back together again. They have strange hobbies sometimes. Their strange hobbies actually came to my mind when I was doing a chart of Boris Johnson on my channel. He's definitely Virgo rising with a very good birth time, and apparently his hobby is collecting little toy buses and messing around with little toy buses. Very unusual hobby. And I have seen Virgo rising have these strange hobbies. I knew a Virgo rising person who liked to take a bike, not a motorbike, an ordinary bike, take it to bits and put it back together again. And I said, why did you do that? And the answer was, I just enjoyed it. And it's anything like that, anything where you're getting to grips with anything mechanical is very interesting to Virgos. They love to find out how things work, but they want to do it with their hands. It's not in their head. Okay, with the Gemini, it's all in their head, working out abstract, intellectual. With Virgo, it's all hands driven. So they're very good at any task like gardening, cooking, DIY tasks, anything absolutely practical and of an absolute necessity for everyday life. They are very good at doing that. Okay, so their whole purpose is of being service to the world, but not in a Piscean way, not in a sacrificing way, but in a very practical, love to get the job done way. They are extremely methodical. They can have routines, very set routines. Not so much set actually, because they are mutable, they are changeable, but they like to have a set pattern of doing things because they think that's the perfect way to do it. So they're absolutely out to make things work in the world in any practical way and to be of service to other people. They're very useful people to have around. If you've got a problem and you've got a Virgo person, Virgo rising to hand, it's probably sorted. So, where can it go wrong for Virgo, though? It's very important to have an awareness of this. Virgo rising, unless Mercury is terribly strong and unafflicted, that critical nature can unfortunately turn inwards, and it has to be controlled because that intense focus that is here to perfect our material world in its best way to help and to heal and to be of service becomes a self-criticism, becomes a really downer on the self, and can almost incapacitate Virgos from being able to move forward. Everything about themselves is wrong. They look in the mirror and there's every minor thing is not right. They can become obsessed with their own health, with their own bodies, with everything about themselves, and it just stops them moving forward. So turning that light of perfectionism onto themselves can be quite negative. Or when they turn it onto other people, particularly their partners, and they become super critical and super analytical, that can harm relationships. So it's very important for Virgo to have that boundary where you are helping and actually where you are hindering, and not just other people but also yourself. So for Virgo, the second house is Libra, Venus ruled. Wealth. Very simple thing here. They're very good at accumulating wealth. They're very good at dealing with money. Venus is very good at dealing with those areas of life. Venus in Taurus or Libra is very good with money. They just enjoy money, having money, they accumulate money, they save money, they balance it all out and make it work for them. They know where to put their money, what savings account. They just very practically down to earth and very quietly deal with it. So it's often a very good area for them, money affairs, okay? Mostly. There are some issues with the eighth house. Well, let's just mention it now because it's the opposite house here. They're very independent about their wealth because they've got a Mars ruled eighth house. But Mars isn't a good planet for Virgo. So what tends to happen is if it's their own wealth, it's fine. When it comes to joint finances and financial issues which may involve any relationship situation, litigation situation, if there is a divorce or anything like that, can be very difficult for Virgo. That's why they often don't like to have their joint finances too closely tied up because they know how difficult it is for them. They're very quiet about it. They don't want a big public song and dance, and they're very independent. So yes, with their own wealth, they're very good. With shared wealth, there can be ups and downs. That's a factor. Family. Now, early family environment, funnily enough, can be a bit unbalanced. What you'll often see is because Libra is either one extreme or the other, they often have a really big family where there's lots going on, and they become a sort of arbitrator in the family trying to keep the peace. There's too much happening, too much going on, it's too unbalanced. They become the very quiet but sensible one who sorts things out between people. That can often happen. Or they just don't have anybody around them, have a very, very quiet childhood, completely unbalanced because they may be isolated. Sometimes I've seen that Virgos can be a bit on their own. Some Virgos. Again, you want to have a look at Venus and how it's placed and how the aspects are. So a bit of an extreme unbalance in their early family environment. And that's how they learn to be dealing with people in a very calm and sensible way, trying to find harmony. What they want in their family is harmony, because that's what Libra is all about, harmony. They want harmony. They want to bring harmony into their family. So for Virgo rising, siblings and travel, third house, also everyday communication, internet use, ego development and skill base is ruled by Mars. In a way, it's good because they put energy into this area, but it's not harmonious. It's never harmonious in this sense. Mars is the eighth house lord, which is a stress-based house. Therefore, sibling relationships are often stressful. Often there is no siblings, as I've just been talking about, and therefore they are just a bit isolated when they are young, or there is endless stress and contention with siblings, or just one sibling. Have a check of Mars and see how that's worked out, and also have a check in the D3 to confirm. But that's a normal thing. Travel is difficult for Virgos. Not long distance travel. They enjoy that. They can relax and take it easy and read a book or, whatever they're doing. But short distance travel, goodness me, they want to be on time. They want to get to work. They love their work. They want to get on with the job. And all the delays and stresses is hard for them, and it's very stressful normally. A very strong Mars can sometimes make it worse than a weaker Mars. You have to have a look at that, okay? You need to look at how strong Mars is. Mars is a difficult planet. Yeah, it's really difficult. And I take it that the stronger Mars is, the worse it is, because Mars will amplify the sibling problem, the travel problem, because it's not a good planet for Virgo. That's what we can see from the Vedic system. Okay, the weaker the planet hasn't got the strength, it can't give you the problem. Talking to people, they are very obsessive, communicative, they are very purposeful and exact. And they want people to be exact with them. That's a scorpionic quality. They go over and over what people say to them, and they want to get their communication right. They're very good journalists, editors, authors, but they can be on the dark side of things. They can write detective novels, murder mysteries, horror stories. Virgos can quite enjoy that, strangely enough. Or they say things and they write things that are contentious. Very often they have contention with their journalism or their writing. Even though they are very talented in it, they go deep and they can cause some people some trouble. So that is often found as well. So for Virgo, Jupiter is the ruler of their fourth house in Sagittarius, but it also rules their seventh house, Pisces. So therefore it's a functional malefic because it rules Kendra houses. But it's still got a positive aspect. First of all, Jupiter can bring multicultural aspects into the home, into the early life and into their later home. They can have more than one language spoken in their family. They can have multicultural or maybe different religious aspects in their home early on in life. And it may not be their parents, it may be their grandparents, and so on. And they like a big home because Jupiter is a very expansive thing. The bigger the home, the more they enjoy it. They like to have land on their home. They like to bring animals definitely into their home because Sagittarius is about non-human animals also. And they like to live with a partner because Jupiter rules their seventh house as well. They like to have a partner to hand. They're not very good at living alone, strangely enough. They are very, very, very organized, very methodical, and very practical, but they like to have someone around. They just like someone to fuss around. That's the whole thing, really. Negative aspect, well, Jupiter can unsettle their home life. There can be a lot of moves, and Jupiter often takes them into foreign lands, but they normally come back again, at least at the very end of their life. They like to come back to their roots. Very often they can actually like to bring foreign cultures into their home too. And this can take many forms, and they can actually make their home a center of religious activity too. That is also sometimes found. So the fifth house of education and children is ruled by Saturn. A trine lord is favorable, so Saturn is generally good for Virgo, because Saturn's about doing things slowly, carefully, methodically, and that's the way they are. Mercury and Saturn get on well. But the sixth house is also ruled by Saturn. Sometimes Virgos do education in a very slow way and fall behind. Sometimes if they've got an afflicted Saturn, particularly, there's a big gap in education, but they go back to it later on. If they've got a strong Saturn, then it's superb. They go all the way up in that slow, steady climb, if you like, to a PhD or whatever they want to do, and they're very successful. They can be very good teachers as well, because Saturn likes to instruct, so it's very good for that side of things also. Having children, though, Saturn can be a bit of a damper here sometimes. Sometimes Virgonians don't want to have children, that's the end of it. They're just not maternal, they're just not paternal, they're just not interested. That can sometimes be shown. But more often, it's just that they can have children later in life, or they have a few children, not many children, and they focus on those children with a very intense, not a stern parenting way, but a very intense and serious way. They're not natural parents in some way, but they're very, down to earth parents, very, very good parents. But they're not just naturally cuddly parents like Cancerians, let's say, okay? They want to do all the practical caring for their children, and in that way they are very, very good. But you need to look at Saturn in all the other D charts and the D5 chart to see about having children here. But they can sometimes be a bit detached from their children even when they have children, and they are certainly more than happy as their kids get older. They can sort of relate to them far better then. Health and enemies. Aquarius ruled, Saturn ruled. If Saturn is strong, it's good. Check the Sun also, because the Sun rules the 12th house. So every Virgo has a slightly destabilized constitution, a weakened constitution, because of the Sun ruling the 12th house. So they have to take a particular care of their health. They seem to know that. That's probably why they fuss over their health and become either health nuts or exercise fanatics or something. They definitely get into their health in a big, big way. And that's good. Aquarius rules his house. That's about the larger group. They like to serve the health of the larger group. Very often they are nurses and doctors or healers. Very often excellent for them too. If Saturn is strong, they deal with enemies very well. But they can have long-term enemies. Sometimes enemies, they don't like to have enemies. They don't enjoy conflict. They're not a sign that enjoys. Some signs just revel in it. Certain signs, they absolutely love a good conflict, but not Virgo. And so but they can have long-term enemies because Saturn is a heavy sign that gives a long distance. So it can stress them, though. They're very easily stressed and worried. Worry and stress are probably behind most of the Virgo ill health, because, as I say, they are the perfectionists, and this is a house of getting to grips with the daily life, and it's actually ruled by Saturn. It indicated that they never really get on top of everything, because who can? But this stress to get on top of everything, to have everything working A-OK, is actually not good for their health. They need to give themselves a break as much as they can. The stronger Saturn is, that's all very well and good. So, career for Virgo ruled by Gemini. This is quite fortunate because their ruling planet Mercury is the 10th house ruler also. They naturally do well in their career. Virgos are very work orientated, therefore they love their career. It's just a part of who they are. They could do anything at all, really, but they put their whole heart into it because Virgo is Mercury and Gemini is Mercury. They often do very well in anything which is about teaching, service, journalism, writing, sales work, even business orientated careers are good for them, where there is a need for attention to detail. They like to just get down to the nitty gritty, as I say, every day. And they like a fast-paced career because Gemini is very fast-paced. They like to travel in connection with their work, like a salesperson. They like to move around. They just love it. I've just said that maybe travel can be hard for them. Yeah, it is, but not long distance travel. So it all depends. If they've got a very strong Mercury, they can deal with it. But they like a changing work environment. And it doesn't really matter what they do. One of the most often seen things is they change jobs. They won't just have the same career all the way through. They will have one or two areas they go into and try them out until they find the right thing. That is very, very often found. Relationships in Virgo. This is a very interesting house. I've talked about the fourth house and how it links to this seventh house ruled by Pisces. So that they like to live with a partner. They don't like a relationship that's long distance or a big distance between them, because they like to keep in touch. That they like to know what's going on with the partner. They like to fuss around the partner to be able to help the partner. That's important for them. But what sort of partner do Virgos attract? Well, first of all, with a mutable sign, there can be more than one relationship. Sometimes, again, if Jupiter is strongly placed and stable, that will just be the one. But often there's more than one, and often with somebody who's very philosophical, maybe even, sort of deeply religious, a very principled partner. Jupiter often attracts to Virgo a partner who's from a foreign land or who's got a completely different cultural outlook. Often Virgos get their actual philosophy and their belief system from their partner. I've seen this very many times. Their partner gives them their principles. They take the values from the partner. Don't forget, Libra is the second house ruler. So Libra is about partnerships too, don't forget, and about values. So they get values from other people. It's not that they're weak people, Virgos, but they do, when it comes to philosophy, religion, and all these ethics and morals, I've seen it so many times. Virgos get these from their partners. They get them from their family, Libra, and from their partners. They look to other people to lead them in this way. They don't mind that. They take it on board. They, take it on board, listen, and they respond. They really do gather information from other people. So, they do often have very interesting relationships with foreign people and people who give them philosophy and give them truth. Yeah, because Pisces is very, very deep truth. It's coming at the very deepest, reality. Pisces often have the answers to life and mysteries of life. It's a very mysterious sign, Pisces. They have the deep mysteries of life, and they want to share them with people. So Virgos love this. They like a relationship where they get a sort of expanded view of the world and new value system. Finally, because it's a fourth house ruler as well as a seventh house ruler, Jupiter, and it is still a functional malefic, I have to bring in this aspect. That is, the Virgos can sometimes lose themselves in their partnerships. Though they're very practical, very down to earth and very sensible, they just can lose themselves in doing things for the partner, in accommodating the partner, because the partner is so important. It's their fourth house, the base of who they are, and their seventh house. It's the same ruler. Therefore, it's their partner is the center of their world, and they can be bending over backwards and doing so much for their partner. They have to be careful they don't overdo in this way, because Jupiter does overdo things. Jupiter is big time doing things. Yeah, they put a lot of energy into their home and into their relationship, and they often are the same thing, that because the partner's living with them. So yeah, they have to be very, very careful not to overextend themselves, stress themselves out trying to please other people. But in general, they normally, with a really well aspected Jupiter, it absolutely works out fine, and they are very much appreciated in their relationships. So just a quick point, everybody, before we move on to look at your ruler through the houses. What is the secret of why the Ascendant ruler is so important? This is the answer. The Ascendant Lord is like a guide, a planet sent to guide you through this incarnation. But what they hold are the karmas that were unfinished, a particular portion of deeds that you have to perform in this life. Completely different to Ketu, different to Atmakaraka. This is a particular deeds which you have to do. What are those deeds? Where do you have to perform them? That is shown by the house placement of your Ascendant Lord. And in the Mahadasha periods and the Antvadasha periods, also, you get the opportunity to perform those particular karmas when you are in that Ascendant Lord Mahadasha or a friendly planet to that Lord. Have a check on my video on Mahadashas and Ascendant Lord. Okay, so let's now go through all the houses where your ruling planet might be placed. So when your ruling planet is Mercury from Virgo and it's in the first house in Virgo, this is a really special and superb position. First of all, Mercury likes to be in the first house of most signs, most horoscopes. Mercury works well in the first house. It makes you a great communicator, a great talker, a great speaker, someone who puts forth their own ideas in a multifaceted way. It makes you very changeable, very up for all different sorts of jobs and tasks in life. Or you like to keep moving, keep doing things and keep changing. But in Virgo, it becomes so positive. Mercury in the first house in, let's say, Gemini is very good as well. But this is more down to earth, more practical, more purposeful. If this Mercury has no affliction and it's strong here, then you can do so many tasks well. There is no limit to your multifaceted talents. Not only are you a good speaker, you're a good artisan, you're talented with your hands, you're talented in getting on with jobs. Work, work, work. That's what you want to do. That's what you love. And if it keeps you on the move, if you have to travel, you like that too. As I say, you're not so good with the short distance travel, Virgo, but long distance, you could enjoy that. You like to travel in your mind as well. You are someone who is a little bit strange, this, but you don't always come over as the same person to everybody that you meet. Sometimes that's the Mercury aspect of that changeability of your personality. But you are so talented, so able to get to grips with anything new. You learn a skill very well. You just learn any new skill in any area very well. You are very analytical, very precise, very sorted, basically. It's a very sorted position to have. It's a wonderful thing for your ability to get on with life and get things done. In a nutshell, it's a wonderful placement. And what does it mean about your karmas that you are bringing in? You are bringing in these karmas because of good actions last life. So now you have the skills that you were doing in your past life and you're continuing on with them. So if you've got a skill in any area, it could be anything, of course, all depends on all the other planets in your chart, and of course where Mercury is in your D9 and your D10 especially. Maybe your D3 could be really, that could be quite important too for your skills. You have to look at all of those. But here's the thing, you are carrying on some past life skill and it's becoming purposeful for you in this lifetime. Very often it'll be about talking, maybe writing, maybe sales work, whatever it is. It's a skill that you have already perfected in your past life. It's basically oven ready and you're just continuing on. It's a great placement. So Mercury as your ruler from Virgo is in Libra in the second house. Definite karma with family that is coming from a past life disharmony. We don't know what the past life is individually. You have to look at all your Virgo charts, particularly D12 and your D60. So have a real check of Mercury in your D60 if you have a very accurate time of birth. This is your karma to sort out disharmony in your early family environment and in your family for the whole of your life. You tend to be the one who has to arbitrate between people, to bring people together, to sort out the problems. And you're very, very good at it. You can actually meet people halfway. You actually have a great talent to actually, to give harmony where there is not harmony, to bring peace into any situation. Don't forget Libra. Libras actually like to quarrel, but they are the sign of peace. It's really very interesting. It's the seventh house sign. So all your relationships are very important to you, but particularly family relationships and family karmas. And you actually have a very good talent in the law. You could work in law, or you could work in any situation where you have to mediate between people. You're very, very good at doing that. Maybe public relations, things like that. Or you absolutely have a very good artistic sense. You may go into fashion or into design. So it's a very talented position, but you are absolutely here to absolutely be the mediator in family disharmony. So your ruling planet Mercury from Virgo is in the third house in Scorpio. Very deep and intense karma here. This is an absolute certainty that you are bringing knowledge from your past life about anything to do with astrology, obviously, because here you are. Anything deep, secret knowledge, mystical knowledge, occult knowledge, all those things that give you power rather than spiritual purity, that give you power. You are continuing on to search for that knowledge. You're very secretive. You like to collect information and use it. But the third house is about skill base. And Mars, as I've just been talking about, is difficult for Virgo. So you have to work hard with this Mercury to bring it into a positive contribution to society. You are definitely going to have sibling issues. It's definitely going to be at least one or maybe more sibling who is particularly hard for you, but you have to try to work with them because they are definitely karmic situation for you that you have to live through. So it's very much about trying to bring yourself into a more compromising situation. Mercury is in a fixed and dark sign, Scorpio, which is very controlling, very obsessive. Yeah, so you're going to have all of those tendencies. You're going to be secretive, controlling, a bit obsessive, but absolutely into the deep mysteries of life. You could use it in a really good way, become a great writer of, maybe occult knowledge or horror stories, even detective work, all of those deep, like secretive things. You could be very good with that. But what you will absolutely be is somebody who wants to have power in their communication. You are a powerful speaker and you think very deeply about how you say and what you say because you know the power of your words. So you can be a great inspiration to other people, but you have to be a bit more compromising. You're not at all compromising. You have to maybe listen to other people. I don't really want to preach here, but that's a problem for you, is listening to other people and getting their side of things. But definite karma with your siblings. So Mercury ruling your first house and your ruler of your whole chart is in your fourth house in Sagittarius. Karma with religion, karma with mother, and karma with home. You are here to make a harmonious and interesting home environment. Where you are born, your culture, you've been there before. You're coming straight back into where you left off last time. Mercury's in your fourth house. You've gone right back to your roots again to finish off outstanding karma. You need to look at those aspects to your Mercury. It's most definitely, absolutely going to be around your mother or your mother's side of the family. And that And that religion coming from your early childhood is hugely karmic for you, hugely important for you. You have to finish off learning with that particular religion. You haven't finished it. You have to complete it. You have to go deep with it. And you may live abroad, okay, because Mercury is your 10th house lord, and you may work abroad as well. Okay, and very often this absolutely all depends on the other grahas around. Okay, but you may well have a business that you actually have to run from home, because Mercury is your 10th house lord in your 4th house. So it's a very independent position. You're a very independent person, but a huge pile of your whole identity is to do with your cultural background, is to do with your very early religion, and it's gone very deep for you. Mercury as your first house lord is in the 5th house. That's a very good karmic indication because it's a trine house in a Saturnine sign. Mercury does well in Saturn signs because Mercury and Saturn have a certain harmony between them. You are very, very focused. I mean, all of those things I've been talking about at the beginning of the video: focused, precise, good, hard working. I mean, you're all of those things. You are a marvelously focused and very analytical person, but you are just a person who gets on with your life and your jobs, but in a very creative way, because the 5th house still has that creativity. You're great with kids. You love to be with young people. You might be a bit of a kid yourself in a way, even though you're very serious and very hardworking. You particularly do well in your education. Again, that's your karmic force here. Some of your lifelong learning and your education was not finished in a last life, and you have come here to finish your education. So education becomes important to you, but because it's in Capricorn, it may start late in life. It doesn't mean it's all going to happen early in life when it's supposed to be. You are a lifelong learner with this Mercury in your 5th house of education. You are always learning new skills and absolutely new knowledge, and you love it. You can't wait to learn the next thing, but you put it to a very practical purpose. Capricorn, Saturn, it's about your work. You want to be skilled in a job and you want to climb in that job. You may very well be a teacher because this is the actual house of teaching and education. And your children will be inspiring to you. Okay, one of them were very close to you in your past life, and they are here to teach you. You actually learn from your children also. So Mercury as your ruling planet from Virgo has gone into Aquarius in the 6th house. This is excellent for your working life and your scientific side of life. It makes you very scientific, hugely analytical, hugely concerned with sorting out the problems of everyday life. You're almost sort of more than a normal Virgo. You're twice a Virgo because your ruler from Virgo has gone into the 6th house, which is the Virgo house in the natural zodiac. You're twice over a Virgo. But you're very good at solving problems, particularly intellectual problems. You might go into science. You might be going into laboratory work. You might be absolutely going into medicine or to, working with large groups of people where you are absolutely using scientific knowledge is very often found. Or maybe politics also, because Aquarius is about the larger group, okay, the commune, larger group. So you love to work in a large group. You love to be in a large group. Sometimes you have conflicts though, because of your opinions are very strong and very fixed, because Mercury is in a fixed sign here. So when you've got an idea, when you've got something in your head, you don't change it very easily, and you like to convince other people that you are, right. Sometimes, not always, because Aquarius is not that forceful in that way. But they do have fixed ideas and fixed way of looking at things, absolutely. but you're very intelligent. I mean, supreme intelligence here, ability to analyze, to be scientific, and you want to be at the cutting edge of it. You're looking to the future. You're looking to make things better for everybody in society. So this may affect what you do for a living. You've got to watch your health though because of stress, because this is your ruling planet. You have a karmic situation with your health, maybe any of your health concerns are well, everybody's health concerns are karmic because our body is coming from our karmic backlog. But there may be one or more particular health concerns which you may have that may be unfinished business from a past life. Very often though, it's about healing more than your health. You are an absolute healer. You can heal anything which is absolutely wrong with you and with other people, because you go deep into that scientific knowledge of how to heal. And you may be using alternative methods or conventional medicine. It doesn't really matter. You go deep into it and you get a real scientific interest in healing and absolutely making this work. Or you may be into psychotherapy, all of those sides of healing people's minds as well. Okay, because Aquarius is a very, very much a sign of mental health as well as physical health. Okay, it's a Saturnine sign to do with the group consciousness. So you are very scientific, very intelligent. The only minus with this is that you do get easily stressed sometimes, but still it's in a Saturnine sign, and Mercury does very well in all of these Saturn signs. So as long as you can contain your stress, it is not an unfortunate position in any way. It can be very fortunate for you. Now, your ruler Mercury from Virgo has gone to the 7th house in Pisces now. This is a difficult position in some ways, but it has a positive side. It's gone 7 houses away, which is the absolute weakest position for your ruler to go, particularly in a sign that it doesn't do very well in. Mercury gets lost in the ocean of, well, not the ocean of that's Cancer, but in the deep spirituality of Pisces. Mercury's logical, practical, right? But this is the sign of spirituality. There's no boundaries to Pisces. Pisces has got all the knowledge from a million lifetimes. Well, you've got that. You are bringing in a very strong spiritual knowledge from your last life, and you want to give it out to other people. It's in the house of other people. What you will also find is that you absolutely end up with a mate who absolutely reflects that knowledge. Somebody who you've known before, who you are going to get very close to, and it's going to have a deep spiritual factor to it. Yeah? Mercury, though, can be a changeable factor in your 7th house, in that you may change who you are very, very lightly. It all depends on who you're with. You have to think about this. You'll probably find that you change your personality according to who you are with. You want to please people, you want to be liked. People are enormously important to you, really important. I've just been saying on this video how Virgos have a real problem sometimes if they over accommodate people. This is your problem too. You have to be really careful that you don't bend over backwards to please people too much. It's not so much about wanting to be liked, it's just wanting to be around people and get on with people. It's very important to you. And as you've got this knowledge, as I say, coming from a past life, a deep spiritual understanding, you're very sensitive around this knowledge. So you have to be careful that you don't, I wouldn't say get into arguments, but that you don't, that you're not afraid to stick with, what you believe. Because you might be tempted just to go along with other people so that you keep them there with you. Because as I say, really your partnerships and everybody else in your world, your friends, everybody is really important to you. But you have to choose your friends carefully, because Mercury in a very weak position here, you could be manipulated. So you have to watch that very, very carefully. So your ruling planet from Virgo, Mercury, is in the 8th house in Aries. This gives you a strong, passionate, forthright nature. You're very much to the point. You like to cut to the quick and say things as they are. You're very forthright, very honest. But in the 8th house, your life tends to go through distinct phases because it's your absolute ruler. It's your karma to have to leave the past behind more than once in your life. Don't forget, this is your 10th house ruler too. You're going to go through many job phases, many different types of jobs maybe, where you completely change your whole career path more than once in your life. But you're very good at transforming your life. It's coming from your past life. It's really a strong ability to start from scratch. That's because Aries is the first sign from starting from scratch with a great deal of what you might call a sort of pioneering spirit. Aries is a pioneer, the first out there, the first out of the starting post, and you're very competitive. I mean, Aries is competitive. Mercury in Aries is very competitive, and it's your ruling planet. So you like to compete, but the issue is that Mars doesn't support you. That's the only problem. Mars for Virgo is not a good planet. It's a functional malefic. So you are going to go through changes in your life that can be hard, that can really mean that you have to transform yourself. But at the end of the day, it makes you a very powerful person in your sphere. If you go with this in your career, you can become very powerful. You can become powerful in your family situation. You can become very powerful financially. You can gain money. You can store money. You can work with money. You might be working in a money type field, like in a bank or something to do with money in some way, or finances, okay? So, but you're very independent. I mean, you're so independent that you'll probably be like a very good sole trader, working on your own and doing your own business is often shown with this position. Now, Mercury as your ruler from Virgo in your 9th house, that's a very fortunate house, in Taurus, is a very interesting position. First of all, it makes you absolutely have a good time when you go abroad. You love foreign travel, you love foreign cultures, and you enjoy all the goodies of life when you go there, because Taurus is about the goodies of life. So you like to go abroad for pleasure and for work because it's your 10th house lord. So you may work abroad. That is very often shown with this. It's one of the most common things seen with this position. You may be some sort of a journalist, a writer, and an artist even, who gets inspiration from foreign cultures, very often shown also. You absolutely have very good success academically. You do very well in higher education, okay? Your father has a huge influence on you, and it's karmic. It's your karmic path to follow in your father's footsteps in some way, or at least to take advice from your father. Okay, so you're very much following in your father's line, and your father's influence on you is very, very strong indeed. Okay, you are going to go through fluctuations in your career though, because it's in the 12th house to your 10th house. So you may often start a new career just out of the blue, and it can often be connected to foreign cultures as well. Okay, final thing is languages. I've very often seen this. I mean, it's really so often shown that you have a real talent for speaking different languages. You're going to be very good. You see, Taurus is very good at languages as well. Taurus picks up languages easily. Taurus has a feel for the accent, for the intonation. It's a Venus sign. It likes all the beauty of the language, the sound of the language. You're very, very good at languages, very often, especially if it's not afflicted, okay? So it's a very multi-talented, intellectual, inspiring position. And you're very good in any sphere of writing. As I say, that could be a big money earner for you. So now Mercury as your ruler from Virgo is in Gemini. So there's a double aspect of Mercury here, it's such a strong position because Mercury is strong in his own sign, giving you great communication skills, great skill in maybe, writing, languages, sales, teaching, journalism, all of these communication type careers, you're up there with them. Maybe the internet, maybe politics, could be anything where you're speaking to large groups and where you are communicating to large groups of people, okay? Or even one to one sales, being a tutor, being anything where you are being intellectual and at the same time skill based, okay? So really there is no end to the Mercury type, careers. It could be medicine, it could be law, it could be anything at all. It could be a plumber, it could be a painter and decorator. Whatever it is, it's all about doing it in a very skill based Gemini way. That means you use your intelligence, you do it in a very intelligent and skilled way. So you've got all the Gemini intelligence and all the academic side going for you if you go up that route, and all the practicality of the Virgo. So you're a multi-talented person, and with this you should go far. So Mercury as your ruler is in the 11th house in Cancer. This makes you very much attached to your own culture, to your mother maybe, and to your early environment. You're also probably a very easygoing person, and you're probably very popular. You're very domesticated in a very strange way. I say strange because it's the 11th house, the most undomesticated house. So you have very high ideals, what you want to do in life, but you're just a bit afraid to open up the door sometimes because Mercury in Cancer is a bit affected by your past. So if your moon is strong, well aspected, it can work very well. But if your moon is in any way afflicted, it can affect your mind in a way. It can make you very sentimental about the past and unable to move on for some people. But it's a very good thing for being, as I say, popular person, a friendly person, an inclusive person, a person who brings warmth into other people's lives. You like to get things done for other people, to serve other people, and you're quite domesticated too, as I say, in a very strange way, for the greater good. So you might go into politics because politics is all about home country and doing things for the greater good. So it's actually quite a positive position as long as the moon is strong and well aspected. Mercury, as your ruling planet from Virgo, is in the 12th house in Leo. This is a very interesting position and it's very, very karmic. You have come here to finish off some spiritual exploration, and it probably will take you to foreign lands. At some point, you will definitely go into foreign lands. Now, is Mercury well aspected or not? The better aspects on this Mercury, the better for you. And check where the Sun has gone, because that's the skill base that you will take with you. But Mercury in Leo is quite egotistical. Yeah, you have very strong views, very strong ideas, and you stick with them. You're fixed. But Mercury as your ruler is not. It's a mutable sign ruling. You're very adaptable. You just want to help people, be of service. But then Mercury's in Leo and you're all fixed on your own viewpoint. There's a conflict there. Mercury in Leo has a very dramatic way of speaking sometimes, a very dramatic force, but not everybody sees it because it's in the 12th house. You may be very secretive. You may keep a lot of your ideas and your plans to yourself. Again, it depends on the aspects to this Mercury, but definitely foreign lands are fortunate for you. And it's in a fixed sign, so some of the natural adaptability of your Virgo has been stopped here. There's something which you have to do in this lifetime to do with asserting yourself, because Leo is about self-assertion and dramatic shows of it, okay? So you're going to have to come out from your shell, and the best place for you to do that, probably shown here, is in foreign lands. Hey everybody, hope you enjoyed my video. Sub to my channel below, and coming up soon, of course, more videos on Vedic astrology. Goodbye for now, and God bless everybody.